Somewhere in your venue right now, there could be a moment coming where someone needs help fast, and the staff member closest to them has about 4 seconds to get it right. If that happened in your venue today, would your team actually know what to do? For most venues, honestly, the answer is no. And that's what I want to talk to you about today, because you never know when that staff member may need to just step in and genuinely help someone. This is exactly the kind of readiness the middle management movement builds into your leadership team. So before I get into the fix, if this feels familiar, visit the link below to find out more. I had a conversation with Stacey Jane from Escabags on my podcast recently, and it was clear that the clubs getting the most out of their community partnerships aren't the ones who send a team along once for a photo. They're the ones who go back again and again. And by the time you add it up, close to half the staff have actually sat through hands-on training in how to respond in a real emergency situation, calmly, quietly, and without making a scene. It was essentially an unofficial training program. That's the model, and here's how to build it into your own venue. Point one, test before you assume. Pick one emergency protocol, doesn't matter which one, and ask 3 staff from 3 different departments what they'd actually do if it happened on their shift. Not what's written on the wall, what would they actually do? See, I've been in situations where emergency have happened. It was many years ago, and I was in the Westfield Towers, and I was working for Westfields as a PA to the marketing manager for Australia. And while sitting there just after lunch, the whole building rocked. And I thought, hey, that's not a very good sign when you're on the 22nd floor, Michelle, because this was up in William Street. I'm going up towards the big Coca-Cola sign there at the cross, if everybody knows that, and beside the Boulevard Hotel, or what once was. And then smoke started to come through the air vents. And I started to think to myself, this is probably not the best situation to be in. It wasn't overpowering, but it was there. It was obvious. I was able to look out the window and could start to see lots and lots of people gathering around the bottom of the building, even though they were only tiny ants. So what do you do in that situation? Well, I fortunately had first aid training and had the ability just to calm myself, because it was probably out of the whole floor, because it was at lunchtime, there was probably only about 5 or 6 of us there. The first thing they tell you to do is go down the emergency stairwell. That's the first thing. Do not use the lifts. But I just wanted to wait a few minutes before deciding to do that. So, of course, I rang reception. Unfortunately, what had happened was in that moment, everybody had rung and the switchboard had actually jammed. And so there was nobody was able to tell us what was going on. Now, I could have started to go down those stairs, but that was a heck of a lot. But I waited instead. The building had stopped moving, and eventually, after, what felt like eternity, the firemen did come up, and tell you what, that was a lucky day. But that's a whole nother story. But what it was, a bomb had actually gone off in the emergency stairwell, because we had an embassy in that building. Well, a consulate, not an embassy, a consulate in that building, and they had been targeted. And so this was 1984, 1983, yeah, around that time. And I'm so glad now that I hadn't walked down those stairs, because to get down there, which was between, I think it was the 7th and 8th floor, I would have had to run all the way back up. Fortunately, no one was killed, but it was at that moment that I thought, what had us doing what we did, and there was a lot of people filing down those emergency stairs and a lot of panic going on, was that we'd never had a procedure to actually react into this situation. Now, I'm hoping that none of you will go through that situation, but that's why this is really important to think about. What would you do in an emergency? Point 2 is repetition. Beats a single session every time. The staff who respond well in a genuine emergency aren't the ones who sat through one induction module 2 years ago. They're the ones who have been through it multiple times recently, so it's sitting in their instincts, not the memory of a slideshow. Point 3, Train the whole venue, not just the department you assume needs it. The person who notices something wrong first is rarely who you predict. Kitchen staff, a cleaner, gaming room attendant, everyone needs to know the same baseline because you don't get to choose who's rostered on the day it matters most. Run the test from point one this week. Pick one protocol, ask three staff members, and see what you actually find out about your team's readiness, not what you assume about it. Because too often we just see the roll of the eyes, oh, another emergency evacuation. Test, and they do nothing. If your middle managers are the ones responsible for building this kind of readiness across your team, that's exactly what the middle management movement trains them to do. You'll find the link below. If you found this tutorial useful, please like and subscribe for more. And don't forget to share it while with your whole training and community teams at your venue. Until next week, take care. Bye.